Girl, tonight we're gonna make love. You know how I know? Because it's Wednesday. And Wednesday night is the night that we usually make love. Monday night is my night to cook. Tuesday night we go and visit your mother. But Wednesday we make sweet weekly love. It's when everything is just right. There's nothing good on TV. You haven't had your after-work social sports team practice, so you're not too tired. Oh, it's all on. You lean in and whisper something sexy in my ear like, I might go to bed now, I've got work in the morning. I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, it's business time. It's business time. It's business. It's business time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business. It's business time. Ooh, it's business. It's business time. Oh, yeah. Then we're in the bathroom, brushing our teeth. That's all part of the foreplay. I love foreplay. A shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake. Ow, ow, ow. And you sort out the recycling. That isn't part of the foreplay process, but it is still very important. Next thing you know, we're in the bedroom. You're wearing that baggy old ugly t-shirt you got from your work several years ago. You know the one, baby, with the curly stain. I remove my clothes very, very clumsily, tripping sensuously over my pants. Now I'm naked, except for my socks, and you know when I'm down to just my socks, what time it is. It's business. It's business time. You know when I'm down to my socks, it's time for business. That's why they call business. It's business. It's business time. Yeah. Make a love. Make a love for. Make a love for two. Make a love for 2 minutes. When it's with me, girl, you only need 2 minutes. Because I'm so intense. You whisper something sexy like, is that it? I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, that's it. And you tell me you want some more. Well, I'm not surprised. But I'm quite sleepy. It's business. It's business time. Business hours are over, baby. It's business.
That's right, everybody. It is Wednesday, and Wednesday is the day that me and Jeffrey usually make love. We took a week off. We had to get a little bit refreshed. We had some things come up, and life comes at us fast. We are back. We are rested up, and we got a lot to talk about. A lot of drama going on, and once again, I can't believe I'm saying it, but WNBA is on the docket. Jeffrey, how are we doing today? I understand that you're flying solo over there, and it is a madhouse.
Fired up. Yeah, my mother-in-law is in Brazil. And if you know anything about my life, that means it is in shambles right now. So it is me. It is the babies. I have a 7-year-old who is literally sitting about 3 feet from me right now, who is playing with Legos. It's just, here we are.
Here we are, baby.
We're going to make it happen, though. It is what it is.
We do a lot of things to bring this wonderful content out to you because obviously this content just cannot go the world cannot function without this type of content out in the world.
I have to get off these Angel Reese takes, okay? These Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark takes are not going to have them by themselves. Make sure you stay tuned later in the show.
that we are going to end it with the fiery WNBA that is now. And I will say this for nothing else. We are talking about the WNBA.
For sure.
And I guess at the end of the day, that's all that we can hope for. So let's get into some real sports here to start off.
Sure.
The NBA finals are finally set after a very lackluster conference finals. The Boston Celtics will face the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA finals. The Boston does sweep the Pacers 4-0 to get to the NBA finals. That was an interesting take that I heard from Greeny, because as everybody knows, I really love the Get Up show. I love those guys. Love Greeny. He's got some bad takes though. And he came out and said that, I do believe it was 3, that the Boston Celtics had the most dominating run to the NBA finals in league history at number 3. Greeny, I love you. And while it may look dominating on paper, this, in my opinion, would be a top 5 easiest road to the finals. You faced a Miami Heat team without 2 of their starters. You lost Halliburton for 2 games against the Pacers as well. Yes, you lost Porzingis, but you still have Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. And you know what? I dog on my wife a little bit, but Peyton Pritchard as well. What a guy to come off the bench and give you big. So give me a break if you tell me that this is the most dominating. This team is a 4. Give me a break. They had an absolute cakewalk to the NBA finals. And if you bet it at any point, minus 300, minus 200, minus 150, it was free money.
What a title, Jeremy. Well done. C's get degrees and titles. Yeah. I
almost wore that shirt today, dude. You should have said something in pre-show. I would have switched it.
I will say this, and it is yet to be determined, because we can say it's a dominant run, but if they go to the NBA finals and they struggle, then it wasn't dominant. It was very easy.
Just the road to the finals.
If they go to the finals and they, let's say 4-1, 4-2, okay, then you're talking about maybe one of the most dominant runs in postseason history for sure. As much as we want to hammer on.
I still can't do that. I can't do it because they didn't face anybody yet. So I can't say that, knocking out the Pacers and Justice's Miami Heat. I just can't. There was nobody there. And let's be honest, this Indiana Pacers team has outperformed every expectation this year.
For sure. And I thought once the Pacers lost that game 1 in the fashion they did, that was pretty much the end of it. That was their opportunity to jump on them. I did think the Magic would have given them a better series. That was just my own personal opinion when it came to the Cleveland series. However, this is where we're at, and we have to take for what we have the information in front of us. And they've looked fantastic, and they're continuing to roll. And I look forward to seeing this series in particular, just because of the way that both teams are playing. Obviously, you have the situation of Kristaps Porzingis, going against Dallas and Luka. You have Kyrie Irving going back to Boston, and that entire scenario as well too. So there's great storylines all around.
It is some good storylines. Well, wrapping up with the Eastern Conference Finals, Jaylen Brown was named the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals. When I was talking, obviously, for those of you who don't, well, actually, you know what? Let me take a quick pause real quick, because I forgot to do this, and I don't know why I did. But I want to give a very happy birthday to one of our very faithful, good friends, listeners of the show, Marcus Buffington. I don't know exactly how old you are, but I'm sure it's a pristine 25, because you look amazing, my friend. So a very, very happy birthday. I hope you and the family have a great day today.
I will say that Buff looks phenomenal for his age.
Doesn't he? He's like one of those guys that's going to be like 75. And you'll be like, what are you, like 50?
Yeah, and like, oh, what'd you do? Oh, I just, ate, decently, and, took care of my body and didn't abuse it with alcohol, and,
took care of a lot of trees.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Happy birthday to it. So back to the Eastern Conference Finals. So Jaylen Brown. So when I was talking to my wife about it, all of the talk throughout the finals was Jason Tatum, and I guess rightfully so. He is the superstar of the Seattle Celtics. Okay, out of the Boston Celtics. However, Jaylen Brown outperformed him, I thought, the entire series. He just looked better, looked more confident, didn't have as many turnovers, and I could be wrong on the stats on that. But he just looked better. And I said, I think Jaylen Brown will be the Eastern Conference Final MVP, and he was. Now, after he was crowned the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the entire mainstream narrative is, what about Jason Tatum? There was no comments on Jaylen Brown. It was Jason Tatum, Jason Tatum, Jason Tatum. And back to what we were talking about before, that Celtics team, if they don't win this championship, they have a lot to look in the mirror about. Because when we do talk about this team, and we're going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, who's also a very strong team, Porzingis will be back for game 1 of the finals. So, yeah, Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, Derek White has been one of the silent superstars, in my opinion. How many big threes did he hit when the Pacers got close and, they kicked it out to him and he just splashed, bro? Couple key turnovers. Derek White, in my opinion, is the silent assassin on the Celtics. Al Horford, still one of the oldest players in the league, still performing. Go Gators. I mean, that team is just absolutely loaded. So, yes, all of the expectations are on them. I haven't looked to see what the finals numbers are. I would have to imagine that I would probably like maybe 180 Boston, somewhere around there.
Boston is -6.5 in game 1.
No, I meant for just the series, just to win the series.
I can find out for you real quick.
We got the 3-time also back here. He's bored. So with that being said, again, it is definitely, shout out, to my Boston people, obviously my family and everybody, in-laws, I must say, or else
your family. They are your family.
I know, but I just want anybody else, cousin Clay or anybody out there, that has seen me wear a Boston Celtics shirt, think that my allegiance has completely changed, because that's how rumors get started on the World Wide Web. We just don't want that. But yes, so with that being said, let's get over to the Western Conference, or anything else that you want to add as far as wrapping up the Eastern Conference Finals here in the Boston Celtics going into.
No, I thought Jaylen Brown was great. I thought he got to his spots really well. I thought his mid-range game was on point. I thought he drove the ball to the hoop very well. I thought Boston was great. I do think that Boston is the better team going into this series, without a doubt.
I just think they're the deeper team. To be honest with you, I just think they're the deep. Oh wow. Okay, so Boston is actually -220. There it is. Oh, Jeremy, we're at the same time. Good job, buddy.
Look at that.
So all these odds are brought to you by Hard Rock here in Seminole. So if you're in Florida and would like to look through some gambling, check out the Hard Rock back at Seminole. So yeah, Western Conference.
Yes.
We had a little bit of a disagree. I think we actually both agreed that we thought that Minnesota was going to take this. We
both thought Minnesota would take it fairly handily. I didn't think
fairly handily. My biggest concern was Luka on defense. That's my only concern. Watching him score is poetry in motion. Although I will say maybe he just makes it look so easy. I don't know. Maybe it's the rules. I don't know that either. But when I see him, a great comparison that I heard from him was one of his childhood idols was Leonardo Messi. Leonardo? Leo Messi.
He said LeBron James was his idol, but that's neither here nor there.
That might have been the NBA part, but he grew up a big soccer fan. He's a big soccer guy. And when they were comparing the two, they said, Messi's game, like he's not the hustler. He's not the one that runs all around and is always there. He conserves his energy for spurts. And when I heard that comparison, I could not have agreed even more, because that's what I've said all along. He just kind of moseys around. It's like when you watch Jeff at work. The stuff gets done at an amazing, and it's always done right. But there just looks like it's just poetry in motion while he's walking around there. So I thought that was a great comparison.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest thing was, can Luka play defense? And apparently he just didn't need to.
Comparing me to what did you say? I'm sorry, I was lagging a little bit.
You're lagging out a little bit here. No, nothing. I was just saying my biggest concern was Luka playing defense, and apparently he just didn't need to.
Yeah, and I think the problem was that Minnesota came out, and this is a very big learning curve for them, right? It's their first real deep run in the playoffs, and you come off such an emotional Game 7 win against the Denver Nuggets. It was almost as if they thought that, once they got by the Nuggets, that it was just going to be a cakewalk the rest of the way. It seemed like to me, and it wasn't. And also, that series in particular, we'll throw out Game 5, being 4-1. The other games were they were ahead with 5 minutes to go with every single game. The series was much closer than what the actual record indicated. And I thought that it was just a lack of execution, and also just Luka and Kyrie not missing down the stretch. They were just on fire. They were absolutely incredible. They had every shot that they wanted to. You know, if they go, if they're not going to miss in the fourth quarter, you're probably not going to win the game, right? You're talking about the two guys with the ball all the time. And I just thought that, you know, they messed up a little bit. If I was Minnesota, and I think this will be a key in this series going forward, I would have taken Gobert out, and I would have just played Karl Anthony Towns at center, because you were able to stretch the court a little bit more and draw out the center, Derek Lively or Gafford, from then protecting the rim. And that creates those open lanes for guys like Anthony Edwards to get to the rim. I think going forward in this series, what you're going to find is that because Porzingis and Horford can both stretch the floor like that, it's going to be really, really tough when Boston has two guys, one on each wing, who can play like Anthony Edwards, who can attack the rim, who can create their own shot, who can get whatever shot they want whenever they want to. Now you're drawing that center out of there for the shot blocking capabilities. To me, I just think there's a lot of mismatches that Boston has. I think Drew Holiday is one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. I think he's going to be able to kind of slow down Kyrie in a sense. Now, Kyrie is in his own world, and you're going to allow him to get his buckets the way that it is, but you're not going to send doubles at Kyrie, where you can send doubles at Luka. And, you know, we'll live with a PJ Washington corner three here every once in a while. I just think the way that the X's and O's match up here, I do love Boston in this series. I have about 4 or 5 bets out with friends already about it that I've taken straight up. So if you're going to give me straight up odds on it, as we said before,
as we just said,
minus 220.
If
you're going to give me straight up odds, I'm going to take it with anybody who will give it to me. So,
of course, you brought up a good point here with Rudy Gobert and the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Right? And they just went after him. This is somebody that was voted the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, which there was a little bit of controversy over that, especially with Victor Wembanyama and the numbers that he put up. But the fact is, and I do believe it was Chuck or Shaq or somebody that was saying it, which love those guys as well. One of the funniest things out there. The fact that they were attacking the Defensive Player of the Year and just completely exploiting him over and over again was quite comical.
So
it's quite comical.
I think there's more of it's more nuanced than what it sounds, right? They were attacking him, but for some reason, Minnesota just allowed him to get caught in ISO pick and rolls at the top of the key every single time. And listen, there is no center in the world that you're going to leave on an island with Kyrie Irving or with Luka Doncic that is going to be able to guard them one-on-one with no help. It didn't make sense to me. Listen, if you put Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford or Miles Turner or anybody else who was in the playoffs one-on-one with any of those guys at the top of the key with no help, let me tell you something. It is game time, right? Like maybe Wemby can recover on getting to the basket because he's got quicker feet than Gobert.
And that longer reach, yeah.
But I mean, like it was just poorly executed.
They left him on an island.
It was abuse over and over and over again.
It was abuse.
And I'm like looking at the kid, and people are frying him, and I'm just like, what is this guy supposed to do? Like, yes, he was a defensive player of the year because he was so good at guarding centers and down low. And now you have him at the top of the key trying to shuffle his feet, trying to, play defense. I mean, the dude is playing his ass off, bro. Like, he is trying as hard as he possibly can. He just doesn't have the skill set for that, man.
You mentioned this name a couple times, and this is my unsung hero of the Dallas Mavericks is Derek Lively. For sure. And what a tremendous this rookie performance is putting out there. He's got smacked in the head a couple times, was probably concussed, sits out a game, comes back, and when he is in the game, it is, to your point, a presence for the Dallas Mavericks. It allows them offensive boards. He's always hustling for the boards, crashing the boards, tipping the balls, trying to get the, those second and third chance opportunities. And when you have Kyrie and Luka, and then, out there just continuing to shoot, you get those second chance opportunities, give them another shot at it.
It's Dennis Rodman-esque, if I may say. A guy who does not care about scoring, will chase down every single rebound, gets the ball, gets it into playmakers' hands, is willing to do the dirty work. I loved him coming out of college. I wanted him for the Magic. I thought that's what a thing that the Magic were missing was a rim protector. And he's been great this year. So.
You imagine if he was on the Magic? Whew.
Yeah, I thought we needed a rim protector and somebody in certain spots to be able to come in. Now, listen,
I still like Jonathan Isaac. I don't understand why Wendell Carter Jr. kept getting more playing time over Isaac.
I love.
Isaac,
I mean, listen, your other center that you love as well too. I love Mo. I love Mo. I
he
love
faltered
Wendell.
down the stretch.
I love Goga. I love Ji. I love the core that we have. But the only one who's a rim protector in there is Goga. A little bit, you know what I mean? Like Ji,
Yeah.
sure. He's 6'11" with a long wingspan, but yeah, you need somebody to be able to stop somebody at the rim, and not have to crash down and give up wide open threes the other way.
Absolutely. So before we move on from the NBA, I do want to talk about one other thing. Is we talked about Anthony Edwards being the face of the franchise, right?
Yes.
And we talked about the fact of he's the best player in the NBA. Still can be ring true. However, he got shut down, and he did get his points here and there, right? I mean, obviously he's going to get his points. It just seemed to me a little bit, maybe after game 2, that fire wasn't there. Maybe I didn't see it. I don't know. What did the Dallas Mavericks do just to basically make him, I mean, I wouldn't say irrelevant in the series, but when you looked at what he accomplished against the defending champion Denver Nuggets versus what he was not able to do against the Dallas Mavericks, what do you think the difference was?
I heard Kevin Garnett make some really good points about this on his podcast that he has with Paul Pierce, and I hate Paul Pierce. I think that guy sucks. But Kevin Garnett, I love, and I think he made a really good point about how these guys have never been in this position before, in terms of your bodies are not. They're not accustomed to playing that long at that level of intensity. And so I think it's just a learning experience. He talked about how Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan would get into situations where, let's say, they were bounced out of the playoffs, or even directly after the playoffs would end, he would go straight to open runs, and he would invite all the NBA players that he could that were just out of the league. The reason was because it was also, yes, iron's going to sharpen iron, but also you're going to keep your body adjusted to playing all the way into into the middle of June, where as opposed to normally you're just accustomed to being done and then taking a break from basketball for a little while. And so I think there's a big learning gap there, honestly, for the Timberwolves and for Anthony Edwards. I still think that his skill set, the way he plays the game, the way that he does everything, has the ability to be the face of the NBA and be the best player in the NBA for a long time to come. It's just more about, you got to learn from this and kind of keep it moving. Whereas opposed to Luka and Kyrie have been here and done that. He doesn't have anybody on the team who had been there and done that. You can maybe say Mike Conley, but I don't remember the Jazz really making any kind of big runs with the Grizzlies like that deep into the playoffs. So I think it definitely had something to do with it.
That's a great point. And that goes back to my point that I make throughout the year, as we all know it gets kicked up in the playoffs, right? But to your point of what Jordan, those other guys, they might have lost, but I don't think they lost because of that, because it was a different intensity. It could just me being an old head again, but the 80 games or whatever it was that they played in the 90s, I felt like they played. They played hard every game. Now, of course, there's going to be some cupcake games here and there, but not like what we see today. I mean, we can all agree that the NBA regular season versus the playoffs are two completely different programs.
For sure.
I think we can agree. Now, imagine if we had the same intensity throughout the entire season as the playoffs. Then to your point, it wouldn't matter when it came to this, right? Because our bodies are already conditioned. And I talked about this before. I don't think NBA players are out there running suicides.
No, and I think one of the reasons why we love Anthony Edwards so much is because he brings that intensity every single night. And he calls other people out about taking time off and not playing and different things like that. And that's one of the reasons that he's so endearing to us, is because he looks at it as a fan's perspective. He said multiple times, if I could change one thing in the NBA, it would be players sitting out. We're here to perform and to put on for the fans every single game. And that's one of the reasons why we love Ant. But at the end of the day, Ant ran out of gas. And
that 7-game series did take a lot.
Emotionally coming off of winning that game 7, and just being on the highest of absolute highs, and then rolling into this series against Dallas, who had just come off. They just beat the they played Clippers, and then Who was it they played round 2? They beat anyway. I
thought it was the Clippers round 2. No,
they played the Clippers round 1, I believe.
I got you.
I'd have to look at it, but
I'm here for you.
I
Thunder.
just the Thunder,
Thunder.
right? They play the Thunder, and they won in 6, and yeah, like I said, Luka and Kyrie have had deep runs before. They know what it's like. They know the intensity that it takes every single night. And I think Anthony Edwards will be absolutely fine.
No doubt about that. Like I said, if we could just get a little bit more intensity throughout the regular season, then maybe we won't have it.
That's why we love Ant, because Ant brings it every single night, bro. Every night, Ant is talking shit and dunking on people. You know what I mean? Like,
I do love the point where he says, like,
it change. Like, it's just...
it always does give me a little bit of feels, right? Because it hits me in the feels when these players do come out and say, hey, look, like, we need to play. Like, these guys, like, you know, it's to the point with the prices that the tickets are for sporting events in general. I mean, this could have been a game that a kid was targeting and his dad saved up for like 2 months to be able to go to this game. And then all of a sudden, well, I'm not playing today. I need rest. Well, I can't get a refund now, so thank you.
Yeah.
You know, but moving on to a sport that they don't rest. It is time for the greatest playoff in sports history, in my opinion. The Lord Stanley Cup is now final. Last week, we had the Rangers and the Panthers going to a game 6, which the Panthers got that done. The Stars and the Oilers got it done at home in game 6 as well. We are slated for the Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers. And let me tell you, I said that those last 2 series were both going to be tough. They were both very tough. When the 6 games, both of them. This is going to be a brawl. You have the Edmonton Oilers that are all in right now. This is it. It's win or die. This is the same setup that you see from the Boston Celtics right now. You've got Connor McDavid. You've got God, I can't remember the other guy's name. He's a top 3 player. I don't know why it's blanking me right now. But you have a stacked team on Edmonton. Florida, you got back-to-back Stanley Cup appearances. You have been a fairly dominant team through the East and over the last 3 to 4 years. You have the experience now. Edmonton doesn't.
Hyman?
What's that?
Zach Hyman?
No. He was just hurt. He's the assistant. I think he's the assistant captain.
I don't know. Hyman has 54 goals this year. I can look it up.
Corey Perry. Corey Perry is who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Right wing. Yeah. Good. One of the top players. Oh, private chat. He's probably over there. Oh, no. Everybody's shouting out little different names. I love it. The player that I was talking about was Corey Perry, a guy that's been there and has won a cup already. So he does have the experience. He's got the veteran leadership that's going to take this team. This is going to be must-see TV, people. If you do not watch NHL playoffs, if you do not watch hockey at all, tune into this. It's just like F1. Once you watch a few of them, you are going to be absolutely hooked. I cannot wait for this series. Of course, I have the Panthers of the future that I picked before the playoffs at plus 650, so I'm really hoping that they get it done. Even if they don't, whatever. It's just a couple bucks here and there, right? I know you've been watching a lot of hockey lately, and I can't say I said it on a couple programs ago. I can't be prouder. You know, Jeffrey. For those of you that don't know Jeffrey as well as I do, Jeffrey is if Jeffrey was driving down the highway, he would be a left lane driver, right? He just gets in his lane and he stays in his lane, and he just, woo. Not much is got the flashing lights are going to get to him, He likes what he likes. He enjoys what he enjoys, and he's very knowledgeable about what he's very knowledgeable about. But myself, the Gap Wedge Wednesday boys, we've been poking. Ian here and there, we've been poking, and we've got him. We've got him.
I'm fired up for this series. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be goals. I just love that it's like, first of all, Florida is so fast. The way they move the puck, it's beautiful on the ice itself. And then you have the superstars on the other side, and Connor McDavid, and a guy with 100 points this year. It's just, I think it's unbelievable. I look forward to seeing the way it's going to play out. Honestly, do you have a prediction on the series?
I think it could very easily go 7 games. I still think the Florida gets it done. And one of the main reasons I feel like they get it done is because they are back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. They were there last time. They get it done. I do believe they also have home ice, which also it's kind of like anything else in Florida. It's not necessarily the the home advantage that you think.
I saw something about the travel, and they're like, well, they play in Fort Lauderdale, not in Miami. Okay.
At Sunrise, they play in Sunrise. Just giving a quick little shout out here to our boy, Mr. Buffington.
I just think between Reinhart and Kachuk, I mean McDavid, it's just I feel like there are stars. Picard, and Skinner, 2 good goalies.
The goalies have both been standing on their head this entire.
It's going to be a great series. I'm obviously going to be rooting for Florida. 1,000%. I am going to be a Florida Panthers fan. I'll be a bandwagon for this series and the series only because I'm rooting for both my boy Ian Zeese and Tyson Thomas to cash their futures. I would love to see it. So
I think me and the wife might actually look at lower third. What does that mean?
It's 2,541 miles is the first distance between teams in Stanley Cup Finals history. It will be quite a travel for both teams because you're going to opposite ends of the entire country. But, whatever.
I love it when he puts it in words that I can understand. He went from miles to it's a long distance.
Tyson's like doing math on if I go 60 miles an hour.
The 3-time always knows how to get his point across, and that's why he is the 3-time. Me and the wife might, depending on what tickets are, we might sneak over there for one of these games.
Yeah.
Just simply for the fact of, again, Sunrise, Florida. It's not necessarily a cult following like if it was in Chicago or Boston or you can kind of sneak in on some reasonable tickets. So we'll be looking to.
The Hard Rock Casino's got some really good acts this summer as well too in Hollywood. So there might be a little twofer for you as well too. You might be able to catch a concert or a comedy show over at the Hard Rock while you slide over and see the.
Well, they do have that Bright Line train now. #ad.
Unbelievable, right? My mom and dad used it to go on a cruise, and they said it was phenomenal.
My biggest issue is this because Bianca just is all about it. Like she just doesn't. Yeah, she's all about it, right? She just doesn't. Yeah. She's not a big highway person. She doesn't like drive. And to her point, sometimes when I'm going 96 miles an hour in the truck, weaving in and out of traffic, it does get a little hairy and dicey. Even sometimes I'm like, whoa, that was.
First of all, Final Fantasy. What was the movie with the that scarred all of us for life? With the big trucks with the wrought iron and the
Final Destination.
Final Destination is what it was, not Final Fantasy. That's a video game. Final Destination.
That's what I was like.
Scarred us for life, bro.
The log truck.
Oh, and bro, do you remember the wrought iron one that they had as well too, dude? Like have
you been behind one of those trucks before? After seeing that,
Amanda will 1,000% just look at me and be like, "Don't stop. Get around him, please, please, please." Like she'll freak out. I'm like, "It's fine, dude." Like. What are the odds?
I freaked Bianca out the other day. I wasn't even speeding, but I was like just making some video. Like I should be a damn F1 driver. She's like, "Don't do it. Shut it down. Just drive." I'm like, come on,
is
man.
This in the Porsche or is this in the
Ford, the F250, bro? 6.7 twin turbos. That thing's faster than the Porsche.
All right, so let me say this about the Bright Line for you. All right, you're saving money.
Yes. Oh wait, let me get back to that. Sorry.
Tolls,
so, yes.
Gas. I mean.
Yeah. No. That's all good. That's all good. My biggest issue is it takes me 45 minutes to get to the airport where the Bright Line is. It's a 45-minute drive for me.
Okay.
All right. So I have to go 45 minutes. I have to park. I have to walk in. By the time I get done, I'm at an hour and 15, hour and 20. Now I have a 3-hour train ride. So now I'm at 4.5 hours. Then I have to go from wherever the train drops me off to wherever I'm going. So now I'm like at 5.5 hours when I could just literally get in my car and be there in 3.5. And don't tell me that gas and tolls are going to change the $150 ticket or whatever the hell it is. But the peace of mind does work. And I'm sure that I will allow my lovely wife to have her flowers someday.
Oliver, you want to say hi to everybody? No. Okay.
Get on those thumbnails.
No, that's Noah. Noah's at camp right now. He's at so he starts middle school next year. So they have a free camp where you can go to middle school for a week to kind of like get acclimated and ready to go, basically. So get you familiar with the school and everything. So
we're on the Panthers, everyone. Go Panthers.
Let's go Panthers.
So that probably means hammer Edmonton. But I will say this: if Florida does win game 1, I will be looking to hedge at that point. I don't know what the series actually is. Let's look for that. I would have to say that it's probably Florida, maybe minus 130.
Will you cash out your future bet, or will you just hedge the other way?
No. Florida minus 140. So if they take game 1, Edmonton's plus 110. I would expect Edmonton to go to about plus 180. And that should offer, I mean, it's only, one unit. So there should be enough to at least hedge to where I don't lose anything. So, and that's what we got to do on the gambling scene, guys.
I'm seeing $412 for game 1 so far.
They're not even giving me an early cash out right now.
No.
They must have just said, you know what? Screw it. We're going to lose. Just the way it is. And let me also add, by the way, thank you, Hard Rock. All of this has come out on I had a $20 free play, and I built that $20 free play up to $300. And then I jumped on the Gap Wedge Wednesday boys picks, the Bad Burrito boys. And I single-handedly crashed their winning streak that dropped me down to my 1 unit. And I said, you know what? I'm riding it all on the Panthers. So we could have a nice payout here on the $20 free play. Thank you very much.
I love that for you.
I do too. Every once in a while you need a win in your life. Speaking of wins and needing wins, the NFL season is finally kicking off with OTAs. We had voluntary mini camps. We had voluntary mini camps, and now we have God, dude, why did you have to do that? Now we have mandatory mini camps. And then we also have the Chicago Bears that were named on Hard Knocks. Now, I'm not a fan of this. I've never watched Hard Knocks. I tried watching it one time. I know that everyone loves it, so I guess I will be tuning in. First episode, August 1st. I don't like it at all. I think that this team needs to be focused on gelling and figuring shit out. However, I'm sure Hollywood Williams will love it that he gets to be in the camera, all of this stuff while it's going on. And there's been a lot of rumors coming out about his struggles with mini camps and supposedly throwing 7 straight interceptions. Let me just tell you this, guys. It's false. The one account that was continuing to tweet this. Now, I do get caught up into this, as Jeffrey will tell you. I don't always research the accounts that post shit. And let me just tell you, it was not a real account. It was a parody account or a funny account. But the quote was, he was benched during 7-on-7 drills after throwing 7 straight interceptions, and the coach told him to stop playing like our last quarterback and play your game. False.
Right.
Fake news. Fake news. Even though that's what our last quarterback looked like. Fake news. From my reports that I'm getting out from day 1 of minicamp, which everyone got to see, we did have all compliments on the field. Williams completed 13 of 16 passes, struggled against the Bears starting defense, however, during the 2-minute and blitz period. And an interception he threw to Kevin Bird on the 7-on-7 came when Williams took an extra hitch, which resulted in the ball being thrown late over the middle. I can't say enough how good I feel like the Bears secondary is this year. Even though my parents told me that they were dog's ass, I was down in Fort Myers, and they told me that the Bears defense was absolute dog shit and that their secondary was absolute dog shit. And I'm like, okay, there's the eye test and there's numbers, but regardless, I absolutely love. I would call their secondary probably a top 5, top 8 in the league, and the fact that he gets to go against that is absolutely great. Give him the first team, give him all the first defensive reps. Let those guys see it. Let him throw the interceptions now. I would much rather see him throwing interceptions all day long in minicamp, and those safeties and corners pulling him aside and saying, this is why I intercepted your ball. Because let me tell you, outside of Tyreek Stevenson, you got Jalen Johnson over there. You got some veteran players, right, that have been around, the linebackers, the corners, the safeties. They've been around.
Kevin
You got to
Byers,
tell them.
Pro.
Yeah, you got to tell them, right? This is why I saw your body movement. I saw your eyeballs this way. This is why I jumped the route. Hopefully those discussions are having. But in my opinion, throw them all right now. Throw all the interceptions you want, bro. All of them.
I think it'll be a learning curve for him as well, too. He was so good in college where he could pitch and throw on a second or third read and still beat a defense. You play in the NFL now. And listen, this is the reason you go to minicamp. Let's also keep in mind, these guys aren't wearing pads, right? It's not like they're out there knocking each other around. You're wearing a T-shirt and shorts, okay? Like they're blessing you with allowing you to wear a helmet. That's about like the extent of this right now. So, and yeah, he's playing against one of the best defenses. I don't think Keenan Allen's there right now as well.
He's there.
Yep. Keenan Allen. Oh, he
so
did show
day
up.
one
Okay.
was the
he
first
wasn't there
one
for
where
voluntary.
he had, correct.
He wasn't there for voluntary.
This was day one. They had all three of them. They had DJ Moore, Romo Zune, and Keenan Allen, who apparently lined up in the slot for the majority of it.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, he's learning a brand new offense, brand new everything. The entire offense is as well too. So yeah, this is going to be a learning curve for him. Let the kid learn.
Yeah,
you know,
soak it up now.
Like
well, this is what we've talked about.
Critical. It's
exactly.
Crazy.
This is what we've talked about numerous times, especially with the number one pick and these kids coming out of college. Like we expect them no matter what. So they had the best success in college. Okay, well, you also played in the Pac-12. No offense to those teams that are in the Pac-12, but you guys are not the top echelon of the world. You have a couple good teams, great, but the majority of the teams that you play are dog shit. Just going to say it, don't care. And the team that he did go against, Notre Dame, who was having a good year at that point, he didn't play very well. So, but we still expect these guys because they perform so well in college. Just, going back to Justin Fields as well, I watched his highlight from Ohio State, and you could see the reason why he had a highlight from Ohio State was because the number one read was open every time that the highlight was produced. There was no highlights to number 2 or number 3. So this is what we need to look at, and we need to lower our expectations here a little bit. There's people, calling for the guy off FS1 that you like, calling for the Bears to possibly lead them to the Super Bowl. There's another in that Allenus that says that if they don't get to the NFC Championship, it's a waste. Okay. Give me a break, bro. As Bears fans, can we start with the winning season? Let's just start there. Let's start there. And you know what? Actually, fuck the winning season. Just beat the Packers. That's all you got to do. Just beat the Packers. So let's start there.
Can I just say this, right? Who do you think the Bucs' biggest rival is?
The Saints.
Right. The year we won the Super Bowl, we lost to the Saints twice in the regular season. Okay. And then we went and played them in the playoffs, and we kicked their ass and made a Super Bowl run. So just calm everything down. All right. Get into the playoffs. Give yourself a chance. Like, yeah, y'all are wild, bro. Chicago.
Jeremy, what's our record against the Packers over like the last 10 years?
Like,
I think we've won 2 or 3 games. 2 or 3 games.
I will say this is that me and Nick Wright agree on a lot of shit without talking to each other. I know sometimes he might want to bounce ideas off of me and me vice versa. But we agree on a lot of things when it comes to sports in general. And yeah, I agree with them. Like, I think the way that this team is comprised and the different things that they have working for them. Yeah. And Eberflus is on the hot seat, dude. Like, put up or shut up time. Let's get it done. But
that's also a problem in my opinion, right? So you basically wiped out the rest of the coaching staff. You brought in another quarterback. This is what the Bears do. And now Eberflus is on the hot seat, right? So let me ask you a question. So if they don't perform, they don't have a good season, is he fired? So then now once again, we have another head coach, another offensive coordinator, another this, another that. That's exactly what we did with Justin Fields.
Okay. Well, let me take it a step further. Let's say the Bears are successful this year. Do you think the OC is not going to be getting knocked on? Hey, man, we want you for a head coaching gig. So then you're going to have another OC anyway. It's just going to be a vicious cycle.
Well, as long as you have the stability, in my opinion, of at least the head coach.
I'm waiting
on myself. You got to have some consistency.
The better your offense is, the more poachable your pieces are. So it is what it is in the NFL right now. You know what I mean? Like, the Ben Johnsons and Bobby Slowicks who don't go for head coaching jobs are rare. than, you know, somebody like Eric Bieniemy, who all he wanted was a head coaching job and had to go somewhere else to prove himself. So,
so back to your point, what we're talking about. The Bears haven't beat the Packers since 2018. The Bears are 5-24 against Aaron Rodgers alone.
28-52 since 1984.
Come on, man.
That's my whole life.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, man. We just start there. That's all we ask. And even last year, Jeremy could attest to this. If Justin Fields and the Bears would have beat the Packers, which I was there for the December game, which they should have beat the Packers. If they would just beat the Packers, it's like the pressure's off. It really is.
Oh God.
It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. If Jordan Love continues his rise of what he did last year, and Caleb Williams cannot at least complement his to Jordan Love's level, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. I could see this getting back to the days though of like a tough defense in the NFC North. I could see it come back to the 10-7 games, the 17-14 games. But the Bears, I will say this: the Bears have done everything that outside of adding a little bit more O-line help, which they did bring in a couple pieces, and they have a couple experimental pieces and two pieces from the draft that are continuing to work out. However, outside of that, I thought they did a lot of good stuff. They brought in the punter from Iowa, which everyone was like, "Whoa, that's kind of weird." But on the same token, this is what a generational punter, that can flip the field, and sometimes you need that. And to have that as well with a rookie quarterback to where he messes up on the 20, doesn't get a yard, and that guy can pin him on the other opponent's 20, gives him confidence, and it gives our defense a chance to breathe. And they added the receivers. I saw, I think on the rankings that they had the Chicago Bears receiving core like number 6 overall. I mean, you got the things, right? You got the tutelage, you got the pays, coaches, players. It's on you now. There's nothing else I can do as a fan. There's nothing else I can do. I've done enough.
I agree.
Just beat the Packers. Jalen Waddle, I don't know if you saw on the contract extension for Miami. Nice.
Jalen Waddle, contract extension. Justin Jefferson gets 4 years, $140 million as well, too.
When did that go out? I didn't see
yesterday. It was yesterday. And now you got guys who are, listen, the market just got reset by Justin Jefferson. And I
CeeDee Lamb holding out.
I heard, so back to the Bears real quick. I heard the question to Keenan Allen because this is the first year that he's gone into having a contract here and not being guaranteed a contract for the next year. And he was, I thought his comments were awesome in terms of he's excited to be there for the excited to be there for the Bears. And he's excited to prove himself, and he's excited that the market just got reset so he can prove himself and go out there and get paid like he feels like he deserves to be. So
I don't see that happening in Chicago.
Well, I don't think he was saying Chicago was going to pay him what he thinks he deserved to be paid, but
I know, but as a fan that looks at, that just, he's a one and done, which there was talk of polls extending for 2 years. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, $40 million a year on the market.
Well, that's not. He's at what 4 and 40 is what
160.
35. 4 years, 140 million. 35 million.
140 million. I thought it was 160.
No, 140. So 35 million a year. Nobody's getting Justin Jefferson money except for Justin Jefferson, right?
You'd be surprised. I mean, some of the contracts that people get just are crazy.
Ayuk did not report to mandatory, which we know his situation has been in turmoil pretty much the entire one. And then CeeDee Lamb also did not report to mandatory for Dallas. So
Dallas is screwed, bro. Dallas is screwed. You got CeeDee Lamb that needs a contract. You got Dak Prescott that's up for a contract.
Tyson, Dallas is fucked. Like they are straight up fucked, bro.
Sticking with the Dolphins real quick. Did you see Tyreek Hill already wants an extension? He has 2 years left, and he's already wants the extension.
Couldn't be a nicer guy, by the way. Tyreek Hill.
I saw that Kansas City. This is one of the reasons we didn't want it, because after like one good year in Kansas City, he already wanted to restructure his contract. Like, I get it, but I mean, come on. If we're gonna do it, you know what? In my opinion, when it comes to contracts and stuff like this, I just could go back to the movie Deeds, Longfellow Deeds. You remember that movie?
Longfellow Deeds.
Do you remember Deeds? The movie Deeds with
Yeah.
Adam Sandler.
Of
So, and the
course.
quarterback comes in. He's like, "Well, I
Yeah.
played good, so I figure I can hold out and get more money." He goes, "Well, if you play bad, can I take money away from you?" Well,
You
no.
underestimate my sneakiness, sir. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anybody sneak.
He's-
You know, that kind of stuff just pisses me off a little bit, just a little bit.
Uh,
Not the point, but like, so let's just say that you had a shitty year, like you did. Like, let's say you had a year like the Kansas City Chiefs, where you dropped 5 passes. You know, so and you were making 20 million. So can I pay you 10 the next year because you didn't do your job? Absolutely not. But if you outperform your contract, you want more money.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I think when you go with something like that, instead of restructuring your contract or doing out more money, I, as an owner, would be more incentive to laden your contract with bonus features. You continue to outperform it, then you're going to get a bigger bonus, right? I mean, but we'll see what happens there. Christian McCaffrey also 2-year contract extension, 19 million a year.
Yep.
I think that that's low for him. I really do. If you got a Justin Jefferson that's getting $35 million a year, Christian McCaffrey was like 60-70% of the 49ers offense.
Yeah.
Like,
and
to me,
just-
that's still low. He shouldn't get paid like a running back. He should get paid as like a hybrid, which to me, if you take what's the highest paid running back, I think Derrick Henry just got what, 19 million or 15 million. I'm sorry, something of that nature. So 15 million, let's just say 35 million. So that's 50 million. To me, Christian McCaffrey's worth 25 minimum.
Well, I'll say this. McCaffrey does get to play on the 49ers in a great offense and put up really
he did the same thing, but he did it over in Carolina.
Let me just finish. Justin Jefferson, they needed to overpay Justin Jefferson to keep him in Minnesota and keep him dealing with the bullshit that he's going to have at quarterback for the next few years.
Right, but just like the Daniel Jones contract, right? That now we got people in the Deshaun Watson contract.
Yeah, but they're out of the Daniel Jones contract this year.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just telling you, like, when it comes to setting the market now, right? And the Tyler Boyds, the T. Higgins that's still under that, the CD Lambs. Now they're like, well, he's getting 40 million. I'm worth at least that. I'm worth 38. But to your point, they overpaid because you fucking live in Minnesota. Let's just start there. You live in Minnesota. Could be a great area in the summer, but probably not the best place to be in the winter. You don't have a quarterback. Nobody knows what's happening. So, like, they overpaid because, to your point, they had to.
Yeah.
So guess what, CD Lamb? You're not getting 39 million or 35 million or whatever the hell he's getting.
You're not getting 30.
Yeah,
you might get 25.
And the fact that you did lead the league in receptions, that's just the fact that your team was down so much and that Dak throws the ball like it. Yeah, you know all that. Anyway, but so congratulations on those guys. Looking forward to that coming up. Anything else to wrap us up on the NFL? We did have Harrison Butker make a nice little speech about women and set the internet on fire.
So funny. People are so offended. Bill Maher came out and was like, I don't understand what he said that was so bad. Like, Bill Maher's he's saying that most of you are going to go on to be, and I don't want to dive too deep into this. My wife, right, is amazing. And we have 3 kids together, and she is our homemaker. She also works a 9 to 5. And in some cases, in some months, is the breadwinner of our household. If you were to ask my wife what she would like to do, be the breadwinner of our household or stay at home and take care of the kids, I can tell you 1,000 times out of 1,000, no matter how much money she's making, it is stay home and take care of the kids.
Of course. Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. It's like, if somebody says something to offend you
and
just move on.
Yeah, and to finish the statement, if that's not what excites you, that is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Go into the corporate world. Don't have a family. Do whatever the fuck you want to. Who cares?
So and that's the thing is, so if you didn't agree with it, you took it out of there that, women belong in the kitchen, which is what I was told by a few different people. And I just said, that's not what he said. And I said to quote exactly what you said. While, many of you are graduating, excited about your future, I would imagine that some of you are actually looking forward to starting, getting married and starting a family and raising your children.
Yeah. I don't think it was one or the other.
The fact that, and let's be honest, this is a private Catholic school that is being paid to do this. And it's just like, the fact that, okay, if I don't agree with you, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. And I need to come and take away your livelihood. To your point as well, I guarantee it. If I made enough money that we didn't have to do this, Bianca would sit her ass at home every single day. And we don't even have kids. She would take care of the dogs. So, like, yeah, I mean, there are people that feel that way, guys. And if you don't feel that way, that's okay. That's what we got to get out of this. And we're going to roll this into NIL and this WNBA drama, which is going to lead us right into this. It's okay if you don't agree with somebody. Just stay in your lane and do your own thing. What Harrison Butker said at this is not going to set the women's movement back 100 years. And to the point of the women's movement, there's people out there that hate what happened to the women's movement. Yes, I said that. There are women out there that don't like the progressive, that have the equal thing of everything. There are some people out there and some women out there that love chivalry, that love the doors being open for them, that love the man that takes care of them, that they feel protected. And if you don't feel that way, that's okay. But you don't have to put somebody else down. You don't have to try to get their jobs because you don't agree with something. It's just... Anyway, so moving that into young children, and there's been some movement in Florida with NIL money, and I know. So I'm gonna let you take this one away.
Well, you know, we do like to dive in the NIL space, and there's a lot going on with it right now in terms of college football. And I don't know if you saw the judgment that came down where universities are now going to be paying players. Did you see this?
I did see that.
So you have that going on. Florida just ruled, I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday, the day before, that high school athletes are eligible to make NIL money. And I don't know where I stand on it. I get it. If you are a 5-star, huge recruit, whatever, but also, like, let's not sugarcoat this. This is basically going to be pay for play. If you are Montverde Academy, right? And when I always say this story, we were a 1A school that I played high school in. We played Montverde, and I think we beat them like 90-15 in a basketball game. Okay. 3 years later, when Montverde left the FHSAA, they became what they are now, which is basically they can go out, recruit, give scholarships, put people up, do whatever they want to create the best teams in the entire country and have the best facilities in the country and the best everything in the country when it comes to high school athletics. This is just going to be another extension of that. I think my problem is that, and if you hear what coaches have talked about a lot in college, it's that when the season is over, the first question out of every player's mouth, and not every player, I don't want to say every player, but a lot of players' mouths are, what am I going to get paid next year? And that takes away from the vision of getting your education and getting you ready for the NFL, right? And it being about your progression as a human being and as a player and getting to the point where you're ready to go pro. People think they can just cash in now, and that's all that matters. And that gets to be very dangerous because when you're making more money than your coach, right? And your coach is trying to tell you to not do something or trying to educate you on something. I know what I was like when I was 16, 17, and 18, right? And I know that message might not have been received the same way if I was making more money than my coach. And that's what I worry about.
To your point, when I was in college, I played college golf, and he said something about a team thing. My college coach, he's like, there's no I in team. And I said, well, there's an I in win, and that's all I do.
Of course he did.
And that was not good.
No.
Right. But to your point, it's always been there. And to the fact that we're going to start paying college or high school kids now, to your point, like there was always a pay to play, but you had to pay the school to get the recognition. Because if you paid to go to Monteverde now or Foundation Academy or all those things, you had to pay to get there. But you got the health facilities, you got the training programs, and you got the exposure to take you to the next level. Well, now so I don't understand how that's going to work. So instead of paying the Foundation Academy, are they going to pay you now to come there?
I think so. Obviously, what it's more about is that, let's say you live in Podunk, some off the wall, random small city, right? And they have a high school that's the only high school there, and they want the kid who's the star running back to come support their restaurant. You can pay them to come support the restaurant. That's the idea behind.
Or you can get free cleats, or
a free
training program.
To build off of what you said about paying to go, there was two ways that you.
He'll be back, guys. He'll be back.
There was
There he is.
2 ways that you paid as a high school athlete. It was either with money or it was with service, right? And if your parents volunteered or were, big time, boosters, or if your parents were there every single day helping out, or if you were there every single day maintaining and working on the field, you had more of a shot to look better in your coach's eyes than the kids who were never there, and so there's always been this kind of idea behind that. I don't know how this is going to work when it comes to high school kids.
I don't know. Let me know when your kids get to high school and they start getting paid to play.
Coming soon. Hopefully esports will be paid to play then.
Yeah.
That's
well, speaking of the last drama that we have for the night, as we talked about at the tip of the thing, and we do have to wrap it up, the WNBA is just filled with absolute drama. Jeff pointed out on the show a few weeks ago about how, the WNBA needs to take care of Caitlin Clark because she is the face of the franchise. And it seems to me that the players don't want anything about it. And there's a few certain ones, obviously Angel Reese, as we're going to talk about, they're just saying that, we're all selling out arenas. We're all doing it. It's not just one player. Well, Angel Reese, you're wrong. You're wrong. Nobody's, you're wrong. You're wrong. And what's happening over here, it's pretty mind-blowing. But, I will say it's not just Caitlin Clark, because Angel Reese also got clotheslined and body slammed basically the other night as well. And the headline on the story is there a bounty on the rookies in the WNBA because of the jealousy of what they're coming out with, right? Because they're coming out, they've already made more money than most of the WNBA players have made in their life coming out of college with NIL. But I don't get it. I mean, this was her quote. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas. The reason they're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. And I want you all to realize that. You are right in some portion of what you're saying. Okay. You're right in some portion. However, I will say that Caitlin Clark brought more attention to everything, including college basketball, which helped elevate your own career. Correct. And is now, I mean, for God's sakes, you can't just deny it. I watched WNBA basketball the other day. I did. I didn't watch it because of Angel Reese. I watched it because of Caitlin Clark. And I happened to turn in as somebody just took the absolute cheap shot on her and literally threw a shoulder into her, knocked her down, and did not get ejected. WNBA, you got a problem. And if you want your sport to keep going, you better reel it in and figure it out very, very quickly.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the shout out, because I said after game 1, I watched the entirety of game 1 of Caitlin Clark, and I said WNBA has an issue, because if they are not going to, and I don't want to say that they should ref her differently, but you do have to protect her in a sense.
Right, you have to protect her. So like that girl right there that just literally shoulder checked her should be ejected and suspended for at least a game or something of that nature.
Chinity, whatever her name is.
Chinity, bang, bang.
Chinity. Listen, I have a few thoughts on this. The point that Angel Reese was trying to make goes back to the Final Four from 2 years ago, when LSU, yes, when she was running around doing that in Caitlin Clark's face, and that was the first time that we were introduced to this person that Angel Reese is. So she's trying to say that without her doing what she did, Caitlin Clark would not be as big as she is now, because of the hatred that she got from one side, drove this narrative. And I have to tell you, Angel Reese, the only reason we were watching in the first place was because of Caitlin Clark. And listen, there are things of this that have to do with race. Like if we can't deny that there's not a white and black thing here. There absolutely is. When you played basketball, I know you played basketball, right? Were you always referred to?
I schooled you.
That was in a pool.
Still basketball.
And that was at your home, okay? And
not mine.
I just want to say that I think I could have had better teammates. Anyway, we're not going to get into it.
No,
when I played basketball, I was the only white kid on the team, right? I was white boy. I was not trusted until I proved myself. And once I proved myself, then I became accepted. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There is that aspect of this as well, too, with Caitlin Clark. That they don't think she's tough, that they think that she flops, that they think that she embellishes shit, that they think that she talks shit, and then conveniently, when she gets hit, it's pointing to the ref for a call. There is that aspect of this as well, too. Jeff shanked the kid on another team to prove himself. Shut up. No, I didn't shank a kid to prove myself. I went to Pine Hills and to Carver Shores and to Oak Ridge and ran open runs to prove myself that I could play basketball.
There's so many comments I can make right here.
God.
But I'm not going to do that because no.
There is an aspect of that, and to deny it, I think is you're trying to be blind to it and say that race doesn't exist in this country, and there is absolutely that part of it as well.
I said that like when you brought that out as well. I said regardless of what you want to say, I mean you've got these predominantly black league that has been that way from the start. And, now all of a sudden they're getting all this attention. Now they have private charters because of this girl or this, that, and the other. When Brittany Grinder was trying to walk through the airport and got accosted, they didn't want to do anything then. But now that we have the token white girl that is bringing everything in, now we get all of these other things. And it's because she's white and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel about that, and first of all, there's no racism towards black, towards white. I just want you to know that that's not the case. But instead of being like, you know what, that's fucked up. Like you could be like, well, damn, we get private charters now. Hey, what's up?
What I'm saying is, I think there is a sense of jealousy there as well too. There's a sense of race. There's a sense of jealousy.
Well, as we just said, yeah,
you're gonna step in here, and we are not gonna make it easy on you. Also, let's be honest, right? Majority of America is white, correct? There is no
statistically.
White. There is until Cooper Flagg comes along in a few years. There is no white basketball player that is American that is out there that is proving people for us. Like we
had JJ for a while, bro. Sure. We had JJ.
Right.
We had
but the
Steve
majority
Kerr.
of the country is going to look over and be like, "Oh, we got Caitlin Clark now. She can go out there and compete." And also, we love the way she plays the game. She plays the game in a great fashion, and she shoots the ball like Steph Curry. She shoots from the logo. She makes these full court passes like Steph Curry does as well too, and it's entertaining. We love to see it. And there's a hatred that is now on Caitlin Clark that they have to do something about, because if they don't, she's going to continue. And listen, I understand she's a good player. There is no player in the history of and they show these highlights of Candace Parker getting fouled when she was a rookie and different stuff like that. There was no player that was checked 94 feet, being face guarded the entire time, getting back screens set on her continuously over and over again, catching elbows, everything, the whole 9 yards, the entire game. They are trying to bully her, okay? And she's playing on a shitty team in the Indiana Fever who have had back-to-back number one picks. Why have they had back-to-back number one picks? They're terrible. Now, my last point that I want to make on this. The thing that I'm upset with, that I think needs to be fixed, is that her teammates have not come to her defense.
That is true.
And if I am the coach of that team, the thing
your coach is terrible too,
pisses me off the most is that I don't have an enforcer. Who's the 12th person on my bench who's not getting any burn anyway? When you see her get shanked on the court, to refer to what Jeremy said, when you see her get shanked on the court by one of these girls, I want you tearing off the bench coming for that girl's head. Okay? Like until they do something about this, and if the NBA doesn't do anything about it and the Fever don't do anything about it, it's going to continue to happen over and over again. We're going to continue to talk about it. Maybe it's what the NBA wants, is for us to continue to talk
I tell you, we're talking about it though, right? And I will say this, as far as a rookie coming in the league, I actually love the fact that nothing's coming easy. I love that aspect. You're gonna bring that shit into here. But on the same token, there has to be a level of respect afterwards, right? You know,
keep me engaged. I'm your new viewers. Okay. Like, we are the new viewers. I remember having this conversation with Sophia. Love the chick. Great, knowledgeable about sports. She's yelling at me one time about how WNBA and the mistreatment and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you know what the revenue is for the WNBA in a year? It's like $200 million. Okay. Do you know what the revenue is for the NBA? It's $10 billion. Okay. Do you know who? I go, Sophia, name me one WNBA player in the NBA right now. No? Okay.
Diana
You know who
Taurasi.
doesn't go to games are women. You know who don't watch games are women. People who watch games are us. Me. I enjoy it. I love it. Keep me engaged. Don't get rid of me. Please, WNBA. I'm begging you.
That's what, somebody said, if you guys are going to complain about what the WNBA makes and the movement and everything, then why are the stadiums not filled with women supporting women? I don't know. That's going to do it for us today on the Uninformed Fan. What a wrap up here on the WNBA. God, I hope that we don't have to talk about it again next week, but we shall see. Until then, I hope everybody has a great week. We'll talk to you then. If you're traveling over the weekend, please, for the love of God, stay out of the left-hand lane.
Happy birthday, Buff. Be great.
Happy birthday, guys.